You're locked in now. Welcome to Bringing the Wood.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, beautiful people. Y'all already know what's finna go down in this thing, man. This right here is another Bringing the Wood production. This is the Bringing the Wood podcast, and I am your host, D Wood. Happy Thursday, beautiful people. Hey, it is a good day to have a good day. Hope your day's going well. Mine's has been groovy. Man, y'all already know I don't like to play with y'all and be before y'all too long. My church self. But we're gonna get straight into the business. What we missed. First thing I want to talk about that we missed right after me and Coach Fly got off the air on Tuesday, talking about Jalen Waddle and is he a number one with the Miami Dolphins, and we'll see if he's a true number one in those things. Bro, they go out there and trade him instantly. Instantaneously trading. They end up getting trading them to the Denver Broncos. The Dolphins receive Jalen Waddle in the 4th-round pick, and Miami Dolphins get a 1st-round pick, which is the 30th pick, a 3rd and a 4th-round pick, all in this year's draft. I think this is a win for the Broncos. The question still begs to be answered: is he a 1 or is he a 2? Is Cortland Sutton still the number 1 over there, or is now Jalen Waddle the number 2, or is he the number 1? This will be fun to watch. I got a homie who thought it was real disrespectful about how we talked about Jalen Waddle, but hey, man, it is what it is. I don't think we disrespected him. I think the jury is still out. They went and got Tyreek Hill because I felt like, as much as they was going for it all, they felt like they needed a true number 1. But we'll get to see, because it could be like, when the Seahawks let go of DK Metcalf, and then he take off. Maybe you go over here, get a new look, go somewhere with another step away from the big time receiver, get Cortland Sutton, who maybe might take a step back because he's getting older and keep kind of getting nicked up with injuries, and you take off and be that guy. But we'll see. But I thought this was a big win for the Broncos, big for Bo Nix, big for Sean Payton, another guy he can kind of scheme up, can play in the slot, can play out wide, can take 2-yard passes and go 60 to 70 yards with him. I thought this was a big win for the Miami Dolphins. Definitely questionable, but now you got two first-round picks, which is good now in this draft. You got 2 in this draft. You add another 3rd. Excuse me. You get you a couple picks in this draft. Now you're gonna add to Malik Willis. Again, I think they definitely gonna address the offense now with both those picks. Maybe a receiver and a tight end. I know teams have already kind of reached out about Devin Achane. They came out and kind of already said they weren't going to trade Devin Achane, which would be smart. That kid's a dynamo. But, talk is cheap. If the right price come, ain't no telling, especially with the way the NFL is going right now. People are being traded. If Michael Parsons is tradable, if Quentin Williams was tradable, Sauce Gardner tradable, DK Metcalf, like if all these guys are tradable, man, Max Crosby's tradable. Ain't no telling who's gonna get traded out here in this world. So I'm not gonna say that Achane is out off the table, but that was what they kind of came out and said out the gate, is that he's off the table. So we'll live with that for right now. But right now the Broncos get a hell of a wide receiver, a playmaker who can, like I said, play multiple positions. And this kind of helps them out. And again, they were in the AFC Championship, and they were potentially a Bo Nix injury away from playing the Super Bowl. So now you only kind of keep most of your players, and you bring in a player of this caliber, because you wouldn't get in the Jalen Waddle with pick 30 in the draft. I can say that with confidence. You weren't getting the Jalen Waddle with pick 30. Not as good as he is right now. So I think that was definitely the good move for them to make. But we'll see. Again, Miami Dolphins, I think they're in a super duper rebuild mode. So I wonder, like is Malik Willis like the punching bag quarterback or something? But we're gonna see. Hopefully they do add around him, put some offensive talent around him to help him out, because he's gonna need it. He's definitely gonna need it, because it's gonna be a tough out for him. But that was definitely a trade. That was definitely a shocker, not a head scratcher, but just a shocker. Caught us off guard, especially with Miami bringing in a new quarterback like Malik Willis. You would think you would want him to have a reliable target like Jalen Waddle, but now you lose Waddle, you lose Tyreek Hill. There's no way they're not going pass catcher, whether it's Keen Sadiq or Jordan Tyson. I'm not sure if Carnell Tate will be there. Or maybe one of those guys, but like I said, maybe Jordan Tyson, maybe a Malachi Lemon from UFC. You can get Malachi Lemon. Maybe you get one of those guys, and maybe you have a chance to do something. Also, in NBA news, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the first team to secure a playoff spot already. So they guarantee at a very minimum, like the 6th seed or something crazy like that, which is, yeah, continuous respect to them, to continuous respect to the potential MVP of the league, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and all his efforts that he's doing out there to continue to keep that team great. Even though when he was out, all the rotational guys stepped up and continued to play well, and that's kind of why they're still in the position they are, which is as one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of the NBA. And today, we get March Madness officially going. We got the first set of games. I'm not going to go over every game that's played today, but I do want to just key emphasize on a couple of them that are going to be going. You got TCU and Ohio State. That's the 9-8 seed. They'll be playing. That's going to be a very interesting game. I think that should be a fun one to watch. South Florida, Louisville. South Florida is the 11th seed. I was just watching South Florida play in a conference championship game on Sunday. I think that was Sunday. Yeah, that was Sunday. Yeah, and they play really, really well. I like the way they look. Louisville is a really good team, so that should be a fun matchup. I think they'll get those guys to run for their money. Texas and BYU, obviously DJ Abangsa. I know I'm slaying his name, but the kid from BYU is a tremendous talent, a hell of a scorer. One of the probably best scorers in the country, if not the best scorer, can score from all three levels. If BYU is going to have a chance to make a run, he'll be the reason why he's going to have to play well and play well in every game. Him and the point guard, number 1, Wilson is his name. I think it's Wade Wilson. I might be messing it up. Y'all know I'll be having the names right here in front of me off the dome. But I just remember in jersey numbers too, for sure, especially with so many guys in March Madness. But that's going to be a good game. VCU and North Carolina, especially with North Carolina losing their superstar freshman to a broken, I think it's forearm or wrist. So I think that's going to kind of hurt them. So VCU is no slouch. They'll be the 11th seed. North Carolina is the 6th seed. Oh, yeah. And BYU is the 6th seed, and Texas is the 11th seed. So it'll be a fun game. Those should be some very interesting games that I think will be good in the early stages in the first round. Obviously, there's some other games, but we got a lot of powerhouses as the game goes on. I think Duke, my guys, my Blue Devils, got a really, really tough bracket, man. We got some tough guys in there. We got St. John's. We got UConn in our bracket. We got some boys, man. It's going to be a tough out. But I'm excited to see the March Madness. Like I said, it's a lot of freshmen. It's about 10 freshmen that could potentially be lottery picks between the first 12 picks. So make sure y'all tune in. We'll talk about all those guys on Sunday as some of the games get going and they start to put on some great performances and catch everybody's eyes, because everybody tunes in for March Madness. But y'all know why we're here. I got y'all all caught up on some of that good stuff. We're here for the fun part. A NFC East roster breakdown. We did the AFC East the other day with Coach Fly on Tuesday's episode. Here on Thursday's episode, I'll have a guest coming on a little bit later to rep his team. The NFC East is won by the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, they played really, really well. Obviously, fell short in the playoffs. Got an upset at the house to the Niners. But again, had the team representing the playoffs. You had the Cowboys there as well, who finished the season 7-9-1. Obviously, George Pickens, Dak Prescott, that offense showed promise to be one of the best offenses in the NFL for last season and looking like in the coming season. Then you also had the Washington Commanders 5-12. Obviously, Jaden Daniels get hurt and the season's derailed, but he wasn't even the only one hurt. Austin Eckler missed the entire season. Debo missed some games. Scary Terry missed some games. Zach Ertz missed some games. So a lot of nicked up guys there as well. But and then you also had the New York Giants finishing 4-13, and the New York Giants. That's where we will start. We'll start on the New York Giants, and we'll get into their offseason and what they've done. And man, they've made moves. Obviously, the biggest move was bringing in John Harbaugh for starters. That was the biggest move. But outside of bringing in Harbaugh, they got busy in free agency. Start with Patrick Ricard. Obviously, a Baltimore Raven. You'll see a couple Baltimore Ravens pop up on this list, which ain't a bad thing at all, as he has some ballers over there. But Patrick Ricard, he wants him a good fullback, so they signed him to a 2-year deal. Calvin Austin, the former Steeler. So, again, some division history with him, knowing that type of guy can come in and play slot receiver. Obviously, losing Wandale Robertson to my Titans, you kind of want to add a guy like that. Re-signing Isaiah Hodges, he was kind of good. Darnell Mooney for them is going to be a solid guy, deep threat, play a little bit of outside, can help stretch the floor. With Malik Neighbors coming back, trying to regain healthy. Isaiah likely was the big one to be able to get a tight end. They got Theo Johnson, the young guy out of Penn State, who's more of a bigger guy, more of an inline guy. Now you add Isaiah likely, who you can play again inline. He can play out in the slot. He can play out wide. You get you a flex piece, somebody who can move around and shift coverages and shift defense. I think this was a really big pickup for these guys. He's going to be a hell of a piece. And again, another hardball guy bringing in somebody from the division, from his team. And just continues to make them guys better. Tremaine Edmonds was a good one as well. The linebacker formerly of the Bears. I thought this guy played well for the Bears, but the Bears were able to kind of get younger at linebacker. So for them to get him, I thought that was a good deal. Greg Newsome played for the Browns. Again, another guy he played in the division against and seen on a regular. So you get to see him. Again, that's the guy you bring in. So again, he knew kind of what he was doing. Or Darius Washington, again, former Raven as well. He brought in a lot of guys, his guys, that could help out and kind of preach the message that he wants to bring in, instill his message, instill his values, all his do's and don'ts. I thought this was a big time win for these guys. I thought they were really active in free agency, bringing in a lot of talent, a lot of guys who can make an impact right away to try to help get their balance. Because, Harbaugh isn't really coming here for a rebuild. Obviously, he's going to get his chance and his time to put his fingerprints on this team and be able to get a little time to put it exactly how he wanted. But he's still trying to be competitive and be in the fight right away. So I definitely think he's going to put his foot on the gas to definitely try to make this team a playoff team very early. Will he get there? Early signs say no. But, man, you can't doubt Harbaugh. You can't doubt them Harbaughs at all. There are some really, really good coaches. The resumes show for it. So I definitely think that's going to be good for them. They got 7 total picks as well. They got pick 5. Obviously, they can go a couple ways. They could go defensive back. They lost a lot of guys in free agency. They obviously brought in some dudes. They can go safety with Caleb Downs if he's available. They could always go Sonny Styles, linebacker. If they wanted to add another receiver, maybe they go Carnell Tate, and now you got your 2 playmakers out there. If Jeremiah Love, the running back, is there, him and Cam Scatterboo as a 1-2 punch, that wouldn't be bad at all. I think that'd be a good look for him as well. So again, they also got pick 37 in the second round, which is like a part-time first-round pick. Them first 5 picks in the second round are like extra first. So they got a chance to be able to bring in at least 2 impact players. They got 3 picks in the top 105. So you get a chance to bring you in some guys in the draft to go along with the excellent offseason they had so far. With an excellent coach, you bring back Jackson Dart another year. Malik Neighbors get healthy. Scatterboo get healthy. Again, with all the new pieces they brought in, I think these guys got a chance to be competitive. Like I said, will they win the NFC East or make the playoffs? I can't go that far to say that much. But to know that the Giants will be a new-look Giant team when they step out on the field in 2026, 2027 under John Harbaugh and his tutelage, this team is going to be a problem. They're going to be a tough out for a lot of people. So I'm excited to see that. They're going to be one of those teams everybody's going to want to keep their eye on because Harbaugh knows his stuff. So I think that's going to be a good look. And now before I bring on my next guest, man, this is an interesting person, man. One of the first Commander Redskin, they changed their name, but he go back with them all the way back there to that time. Knows his Redskins, knows his Commander staff. I said I'm gonna say it a couple of times because he go back and his name he had coming on here, classic. We'll talk about that another time. But again, it's gonna be coming on. He's gonna be bringing all things Washington Commanders for us. And we're gonna talk to him. And he's a mysterious man. So, ladies and gentlemen, no further ado, Mr. Red Ron. What's good, Ron, man?
What's going on with you? How's everything?
Hey, I can't complain, man. How you feeling over there?
I'm feeling all right, ready to talk about what we've been doing, where we going.
Come on, man. Nah, you already know. So before we even get into the Commanders, man, how did you become a Washington Commanders fan? Tell the people about yourself a little bit.
Okay, well, growing up, I watched football a little bit. My dad is a Raiders fan. He was always a Raiders fan, but him and my mom was working during my formative years. So my cousin, Aunt, shout out to Aunt Dubs, he would come over and watch me. And so obviously going into the weekend, they off, so they leaving, and we would watch Redskins games. But at first, I didn't really think nothing of it. But a football game obviously take about 3 hours. So my
Mm-hmm.
favorite cousin is watching these games, and all of a sudden I start paying attention. And then I'm watching, Michael Westbrook and Stephen Davis and all of them do their thing. And then he started giving me some of the history on the Redskins and the stuff, they went through. And I love Indians. So I fell in love with the team, the honestly, the symbol on it and everything. And I started liking it from there. And with my favorite cousin liking it too. We just started watching it. And then I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. So as the years went on, yes, sir, as the years went on, we started to get more Hurricanes was coming to the Redskins. I mean, I love Champ Bailey, but when we got Clinton Portis, Santana Moss, Sean Taylor, I wanted Kellen Winslow that year, but it just kept going. So it just got deeper and deeper for me. So I've been a Redskins fan almost 30 years.
Come on now, just so y'all know, it's authentic, man. It's authentic, and it transfers all the way up into today. And before we even get into you guys' roster and what you guys done so far this year and what we expect, we'll get into last season. Obviously, it wasn't what we wanted, wasn't what you expected. Obviously, 5-12 was not what you wanted going in there, and obviously, I think we would have been better. And I say we because we just chopped it up, but y'all would have been better.
Yeah.
If Mr. Daniels was healthy. But how did you feel about last season and just the totality?
I don't like to be a tweener. If we can't win it all, I would rather be 5-12, 4-13, or 3. You know what I'm saying? I want to try and bottom out because I think it was a blessing that he actually stayed out the games that he did. Because what's going 7-9? I don't care about 2 or 3 wins here or there, even when they're against a heated rival, Eagles or Cowboys. Or I don't get so mad at the Giants, but I still can't stand them either. But I would rather build something that's going to last. I don't like the way I appreciate, Mike Tomlin and his contributions to the Steelers, but I wouldn't want to just muddle in mediocrity or stay in the middle. I would rather bottom out and have a great amount of hope or put all my eggs in one basket and shoot for the stars. I feel like we got very fortunate when we made it to the NFC East Championship and going, the NFC Championship, and going all the way. But I was satisfied that we held Jaden Daniels out when we did and that we lost the games we lost, because I think if we get this draft right and we get some continuity, we can actually make something that lasts, because we never do that. We're a lot of sizzle and not a lot of steak for years. So I'm hoping we can actually build something worth rooting for.
No, most definitely. That I definitely think that's gonna be something. And we'll definitely, like you said, we'll get into it. And we'll start to get ready to get in some of you guys off season moves because again, guys have made some moves in the off season. Ain't just been sitting around twiddling your fingers. I can say that.
Yeah,
So
we spent some money.
yeah, spent a little bit of chips with dip. So we'll get into this roster a little bit. And obviously, we'll let you kind of go through the roster and let you kind of handle your business. I already talked about them. I said they were one of the more improved teams over the offseason. They're one of the teams I like. They got better. But go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, first I want to start off with where I think we did well as far as spending our money was picking up Rashad White. Obviously, we have a running back that was, I don't want to say much hyped, but that the coaching staff really liked with Bill Krosky and the things that he can do. But I think he's not as multifaceted as a lot of the other running backs are in the league. I think picking up Rashad White and reuniting him with Jaden Daniels was a good bargain bin move. I know we had to lock up Laramie Tunsil. We re-signed him. That wasn't somebody coming in new, but we had to spend some money to keep him because we gave up draft capital for him. And although I'm a big Trent Williams supporter. He's been one of my favorite, players of all time, and we let him go. Laramie Tunsil is serviceable, and it's hard to find good tackles. He's more than serviceable. He's really good. But I liked bringing back Tim Settle. I did not like bringing Diami Brown back. I felt like that was a mistake drafting him and bringing him back. There's some familiarity, and it wasn't a terrible deal, but just personally from what he brought when he was last here, I didn't care for it. Leo Chanel and some of the different things we did were okay. I didn't like our biggest signing, honestly, which was, Odafe. I did not care for that. He is entering his prime, and these are the years you want to pay somebody. But I've never seen him take on a full snap, like all the defensive snaps, and that's kind of how they paid him.
For
And he's
sure.
never really done that. So that does give me some concern, but I'm hoping for the best there just with his age and his trajectory. We paid him more so for potential rather
Mm,
than what he's already done. He only has one double digit sack season. Not
right.
saying that sacks are all indicative of effort because he does put in effort. But I did like Tim Settle coming back. I thought Tim Settle was a good pickup to come back. I was upset when we let him leave, but he kind of priced himself out with his play.
Yeah, that's good players do that, especially when you get them on the cheap and they play way past what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure. I like the Caleb Chase on pickup myself. And Nick
that
Cross.
was a good one. Yes, him and Nick Cross. I apologize, I didn't speak on him, but I don't like that it was for 1 year, the prove
Yeah,
it year, because I feel like we're gonna mess around and lose him. I wish it was for more.
yeah, that's always the game you play, especially with edges, because you don't like franchise tagging edges because the number's so high. So like
Yes,
those 1 year deals be like, why you got to prove it with us, man? Why we couldn't figure this
yeah,
out?
for
But
sure.
I definitely thought you guys were really active, one of the more active teams, and not just active in a way where it felt like you were just signing guys because you had money. A lot of the teams that spent money so far this year, I felt like were spending money on teams that they felt like, I mean, not on teams, but on players that they really felt like could help them get better. And I think
Yeah.
that was a good thing that I've seen this year in the free agency.
Yeah, it was kind of a rare free agency in that way to where not saying that the bag wasn't flowing around, but it was either people retaining their own free agents or really being pointed at what areas they wanted to try and improve in for the season more so than other years where I think sometimes things just run amok. I mean, I feel like the Rams did a lot of that, just kind of really attacking their secondary, but I don't think we attacked one area too much. I think we gave ourselves a lot of flexibility going
Mm-hmm.
into the draft, but it gives me some concern because if you look over the years, we are not very good at drafting offensive players. And the
Uh-huh.
way our free agency went, it looks like we're going to draft an offensive player, and that scares me. From Jahan Dotson to Josh Doxson, any receiver, Malcolm Kelly, Fred Davis, Devin Thomas, we can go all the way back. We are not very good at basically developing our offensive players for whatever reason. And so
uh-huh.
that I hope we stick to the defense or maybe even the trenches. Because if we go with a skill position, I'm afraid we're going to waste
Well
this. And we
done.
don't have very many picks because
No,
we
right,
have the
right.
seventh pick and the 71st. And
Yep.
after that, you know,
Yeah, after that, once you outside that like top 115,
exactly.
120,
It's
it's
kind of a
all it's
crapshoot.
all of this. Yeah, it's all
Yep.
fingers crossed. I see a couple things he do well. Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
You know. And if you're banking on that, right, like you say, you're banking on a dream. But yeah, definitely with only 6 picks, pick 7. Do you think trade back is an option for y'all? Would it be in
I,
like now the like top heavy draft of just like can't like guys you just can't not have?
I don't believe in my heart that we will do that.
Hmm.
But it's what I would want. I would
Okay.
prefer to trade back, but it really depends on who they value and why. If they think to be honest, we don't have an explosive skill position room. We have Terry. Obviously, we tried the situation with Debo Samuel, and now we brought in Rashad White. We're trying to get more explosive. We're trying to get people who can get the ball in their hands and do something. And I
Uh-huh.
don't think we have that. I think this would be the draft to trade down if you still wanted to get because it's very receiver heavy. From
Hmm.
Tate, Tyson, Conception, it's a lot of guys who are viewed as first round picks,
Yeah.
but we always get that guy wrong. We always get that guy wrong. So it would be nice to trade down and have an extra shot. You know,
Yeah.
I would
I
like
see
that
two of
extra
these
shot.
dudes.
But for me, if Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese or somebody like that, if a defender fell, I would rather just draft the defender because you can find, the Amon-Ra St. Browns, the Puka Nakuas a lot sooner than you'll find a Trey Hendrickson or a Max Crosby. They don't come around that much. So I would
Yeah.
rather use the first on a defender, even though we did it with Chase Young and that also didn't work because, we just couldn't be patient with him. But
Yeah.
I hope we trade back.
Yeah. No, trade back, I think definitely would be a good look. But if you don't trade back, I think Avril Reese, with the way they talking, I think he could potentially be available. Maybe
He'll
not.
most likely be gone. Yeah.
But Sonny Styles, I think that's a good option.
Yeah.
I think Caleb Downs is also a very good
I,
option.
I would take Caleb as well.
And then Ruben Bain is the other one. I'm not sure he's got like his trajectory is like some people have him top 5, and then some people would
Some
consider
people have him 13. Yeah.
so like
Yeah, he's up and down the scale. And I can tell you the people I do not want: David Bailey,
ooh,
Carnell Tate, and Jordan Tyson. I don't want those players for sure.
okay.
So no, but for Carnell Tate and Tyson, I think we were not ready to have a first round receiver. We just don't do well with it. I think we just need to spread it out. And I'd take a first round tight end over a receiver, to be honest.
I mean, Kenyon Sadiq might be a little rich at 7, but with the trade back to maybe like 12, 11, you get him there.
Yeah,
You gain yourself like a second round, third
I
round.
would trade back and take Kenyon Sadiq or Stowers, Eli, or anything like that. I think a tight end is more useful with the way our offense is and how Jaden Daniels moves. I think tight ends would maybe behoove us a little bit better and give us a chance to get. I would even take an offensive tackle and be happy with that because just historically, what is the last first round wide receiver to do well from the Redskins? Honestly, Rod Gardner flamed out. No, seriously, the only one who actually did good was Santana Moss, and we traded for him.
Yeah, and they traded and got him. So yeah.
So we just don't have. We're just not that team to develop. It's like the Patriots curse. Like they just don't draft receivers well.
Just can't get well. So let's just go ahead and get us another scary Terry in rounds 3 through 7.
Yeah, I would much rather do that, and I would take Ruben Bain just because kind of I think the Eagles have shown us the way. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also showed us that if you can pressure the quarterback in waves, you give yourself a much better chance with anything, So if we get Bain and we have Chase on and Owe and Settle, and we still have Jerzon Newton, I think that would be better.
Yeah, and especially with the quarterbacks that y'all got in y'all division, you're gonna need waves. Offenses that potentially could be coming and rolling out in y'all division next year.
That's true.
Yeah, you would, like you said, you definitely gonna want to have to get after the quarterbacks, and the teams who can are usually, like you said, the teams that are playing late. So yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, a defender, I like that. Any free agents that's still out there you still interested in?
I mean, I would like, to be honest, I would prefer if we got a Jawan Jennings or a receiver or something again now, besides the little kind of scrap heap that we dealt with, because I think it would get us away from drafting one. But the way our free agency is went, I think they're going to end up drafting the receiver. That's my fear. Yeah.
Jawan Jennings wouldn't be bad. I mean, the GM does have some ties to San Francisco. That wouldn't be bad.
Or even Ayuk. I would take Ayuk just to not draft a receiver. Sincerely, because you got to think, you pick in the top 10 in the NFL draft more than 4 or 5 years in a row, then your team is completely garbage. So you got to maximize the opportunities picking up there. A defender, I think, will change the game for us far more than a receiver would, just with Jaden Daniels' particular skill set, because he can really work the seams in the middle of the field. If we go number 7 with a Bain or a Sonny Styles or even a cornerback, Mansour, we do something like that, and then we come back in the 3rd round with one of the receivers that falls, I think or even a tight end, somebody, who can really stretch that seam or something, I think we'd be much better off as a team than if we do it the other way and go 1st round receiver, 3rd round DN.
Right. Okay. All right. I like that. And that's why you on here, man. Covering all things Commanders. As y'all can see, the man knows the stuff hidden from the public because he don't need y'all stalking him, trying to hassle him for this Commander. Hey, anything else before I get you out of here? I truly appreciate this, man. You're gonna be back on before the draft. We'll talk a little bit more as draft get close and pro days happen, and y'all have y'all top 30 visits. I'll have you back on to talk some more Redskins. But just let the people know anything. What else you're interested in? Who's your hoop team? Who your college? I know you said the youth.
Yeah,
I might let you on during college football season. That just
the Hurricanes.
Yeah, let's go State. But,
yeah. No, I respect all things Florida. Nothing much, man. I'm really hoping that we can start to build some things that last. I'm happy. I'm not gonna lie, Dan Snyder he wasn't the best owner, but he did put his money where his mouth is. The problem is he put his brain where it shouldn't be, and that's on the football field. And that's what kind of ruined us for years. So I had a lot of years in there where we could spend money, but we spent it how he wanted rather than how we needed. So I'm glad we got new ownership in. I'm hoping that we can let football people make football decisions, and we can stick with one GM, one coach for long enough to see things through and stop changing so many things. I don't want to keep having roster turnover like we have the last couple decades. So I'm excited, but I'm always keeping my eye towards how are we developing things, because, you get to the mountaintop. Even look at what happened with the Seahawks, kind of flash in the pan, but it's because they've been having the same organization for 10 years, and then you have somebody come take it over and change two things, and you got a champion because everything else was already in place.
Because they, like you said, it's been the same GM, Dan Snyder, for a nice minute now. And like you said, you see the same teams that kind of be at the top doing their thing.
Yeah,
you see what it looks like. I'm hoping we are part of that now. We just brought in Borgonzi and Salah and those guys. So again, I'm in that same boat with you with a stupid turnover. I'm over it. I'll be talking Titans next week. We'll do AFC and NFC South next week, so I'm not gonna lie about my guys. But I appreciate you, Ronnie Botito. You already know if you want to ever come on again, man, the door and the floor is always yours, dog, for sure.
Nah, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, man, and getting me on here to talk a little bit about my team. And then, we'll see what's going on. Maybe I'll hop on and listen next week when you talk about the Titans. That's one of my AFC squads. I'll be watching y'all close. I see what y'all got going over there.
You checking in? You always check in with something when you see something. So yeah, make sure you tune in next week, man. We'll have some fun with that.
All right, for sure. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you, player. Enjoy your evening.
All right, you too, peace.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. That's Red Ron. That's Red Ron right there. Red Ron. You know what that is, man. But no, it's a good guy, man. As you see, man, knows his Redskin, knows his history. Like I said, man, been a fan since I met him. But yeah, knows his stuff. Had to bring him on. Like I said, breaking down the NFC East. I was gonna have some guys on. And there's a guy I'm trying to have somebody on at least every one, man. I at least want to have one representative representing their team and bringing the wood on and talking about their team. And you'll see some of these guys again representing their team as the draft happens. And as their team has breaking news, obviously I'll bring it to you. But I'll have them bringing some breaking news as well when they want to bring things. So again, man, it's gonna be a family affair here. You're gonna get to see a bunch of people. And that way we tapped in and we touching on everybody's team. Obviously, you see in the background it's heavy Titan, so that'll be the main team and the main squeeze. And then the Raiders and Niners, because I'm a Bay native by nature, so I gotta give a shout out to them on my party all the time. So they'll always get love. But I want to make sure I bring in everybody because I really just love sports as a whole. So that's kind of how that's gonna go. So yeah, shout out to Ron, man. We're gonna talk after. The show must go on, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys. And yeah, I'm gonna be doing this one. I got some people. My homie Devin was supposed to be on, but I know how to work be. But Dev, I'll get you on. Dev will probably come on Sunday's episode. And we'll probably still backtracking, talk a little bit of that. But Dev is a Houston Cougs fan. Not only a Houston Cougs fan, a graduate of Houston Cougs. Played football there. Ran track, stock 209. You know what I'm saying? Player legend over here. So I'll definitely get him on Sunday. He can tell a little bit of his story about his football journey and playing over at the University of Houston and playing with some guys who played in the NFL. And yeah, so he'll be fun. And he's a big time Cowboy fan. And yeah, he's a Cowboy fan. So he got all the animation and he's real animated. He was on some of my earlier podcasts when I was just doing it on Facebook and through just the podcast and stuff. So I'll make sure to get him on. And I'll make sure to do the Cowboys some justice. Oh my God, big brother. The Ricky Anderson podcast. He's a Cowboy fan. So yeah, man, I got some guys that I'll bring on to talk Cowboys too. But tonight the floor is mine. And we already talked about a little bit about the record. You know what I'm saying? And we already said that they went 7-9-1. Again, we talked about Dak Prescott having another one of his stellar years. CeeDee Lamb having a great year. George Pickens having a career year. Where he just kind of showed up and showed out for the Dallas Cowboys from start to finish. And again, was in the contract year, so he was ended up being franchise tag, which is better than letting him walk and going to go get that money somewhere else. It's gonna be interesting to see though what George Pickens does on the franchise tag. Will he come? Will he show up and still just kind of be the constant professional? to show them that he's here for business and here to handle his, or will he wait until he has to when they start to kind of say they're gonna take that money and then he'll kind of show up. If he's gonna do it like that, that'll be an interesting look. That'll kind of set the Cowboys back. It'll set him back because I don't think no player in history has like sat out up until training camp, till past training camp, and then came in and like balled out. Like I don't think it's ever happened, at least not to my recollection. So I don't think George Pickett's gonna be able to do that. So I do think that wouldn't be to his interest. But hey, I'm not his agent, and I ain't him. So he's gonna kind of handle it to how he sees fit to the best of his career, and for himself. So I ain't mad at that. But again, they wasn't super active in free agency, but they did get active in free agency. They brought in, again, re-signed Javonte Williams. That was big. We talked about franchise tagging George Pickens. Trading to get Rashawn Gary, I thought was a good one. Bringing in Sam Howell, you can't not have a good backup. Kobe Durant from the Rams gonna be a good little sometimes outside and can play some nickel corner. Jalen Thompson, the safety from the Cardinals, been a solid player over there for the Cardinals. So I think that just kind of helps them on the back end. And then obviously PJ Locke from the Broncos is a solid safety. Played a lot of rotational for them. Matt Hennessy is a good center. Has a chance to come over there and compete for a starting job or a rotational swing piece as an interior lineman. Again, they got a lot of money tied up in players, and they're working on trying to re-sign George Pickens to a major deal. So I know they're not going to be moving around too much. But again, bringing in Rashawn Gary is a good look. I think that's kind of where it resides. They got a second round tender on Brandon Aubrey because you don't let a guy like that leave out the door. Not the guy who's easily a bucket from 60 yards. So you don't let a guy like that walk out your life. So you put a little second round tender on him, and you tell anybody, if you want him, I need a second for him. And don't think nobody want to trade a second round pick for a kicker. So I think they're going to be good with that tender. They'll be able to have him for at least another year until they work out a deal for him. And I think he's worth whatever he's asking for. I know it's probably to be the highest paid kicker, but again, man, when you're going out there getting 60, it is what it is, man. You kind of just got to let it rock. So I think they should get that man the money he wants. But again, you got to focus on the big fish, and the big fish is George Pickens. And that's the guy they have to bring in, obviously, on the $27 million tag. Solid number. Obviously, he wants much more than $27 million. When you top 2 or 3 in every receiving category last season, yeah, you don't want number 2 money. You're going to want number 1 money. Maybe you land somewhere right in between number 1 and number 2. I think T. Higgins got 28. So I'm pretty sure he feel like he's better than T. Higgins. So like I said, I think he's going to want closer to that 30 number. But that's a battle they'll have on their own when the time comes. Again, but they ain't too aggressive again. But I think Rashawn Gary helps out a lot. They don't forget they got Quentin Williams already. He's gonna be on the team. He's another year there. I think that's gonna be really, really solid for them. They still got Kenny Clark, who they got from the Packers. So that now you add 2 former Packers. You got Gary, you got Clark, you got Quentin Williams. You got the cat from BC they drafted last year. Ezaraku, there it is, Donovan Ezaraku out of BC. You got him now. So now they got a nice little front four. Obviously, the linebacker Wilson, he just kind of retired abruptly from the Cowboys. The guy they got from the Bengals out of Wyoming a few years back. So obviously they would be looking in the draft to probably address that. They got 8 total picks in the draft, pick 12, pick 20, both in the first round again, pick 92 in the third round. So 3 picks in the top 100. Again, got a chance to add 3 starters. And I truly believe they could get 3 players on defense with all 3 picks. Maybe a linebacker and a corner and a safety, or maybe a linebacker and 2 corners, or a linebacker, an edge rusher, and a safety. Because, again, you can never have too many edge rushers. But definitely all defense with those picks. I think the offense will be A-okay after last season. So I definitely think they don't need to worry about the offense. But maybe with pick 12, I'm not sure if Sonny Styles is going to be there at 12 now with how he tested and how he ran, but that was kind of who I thought they would be able to get. But now with pick 12, maybe you go with Mazador out of LSU. Maybe you go with Gerald McCoy out of Tennessee, He got a big pro day coming up soon because he hasn't worked out or done anything coming off the tour ACL. So he's got a big pro day and he's got some physicals and some medicals coming up. If those clear, if this guy was healthy off of his last year's stats, this guy would have been the first defensive back taken, right up there with Caleb Downs. He's that good of an impact player. He's that good of a corner, man-to-man corner, plush man, very long, good hands. So I think he'd be a good look for them at 12 too if the medicals clear out. And then at 20, CJ Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia, could be there. Anthony Hill out of Texas as well could be there. I think those guys both have a chance to be back in first round picks at linebacker. If Theismann out of Oregon is there at 20, I don't think they wouldn't mind getting him to play back there at safety. So I think they got a couple options that they can use to play with back there. But again, I think all three of those things need to go to the defense. I think they need defense. They got defense. Jerry already said he was going to go big or go home on the defense. So we'll kind of see what he ends up doing with that. But again, they ain't lose a lot of players. They ain't gain a lot of players, but they did add some pieces. And Jerry's definitely going to try to build a defense through the draft. And again, Max Crosby's still out there. They were one of the teams that offered. They didn't want to offer 2 firsts for Max. So hey, Max might not be worth 2 firsts now. So maybe they come back down and they give something up. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe they feel like they've already got enough and have already spent what they would have spent on Max Crosby, on other players. But I do believe that the Cowboys are in an interesting spot. And if they're able to get into the top 15 as a total defense, top 12 to 15 as a total defense next year, along with a top 5 offense, they'll have a chance to not only be a playoff team, but a potential contender. I know it sounds like a stretch when we're talking about the Cowboys, but man, this is real, bro. That offense was prolific. They scored a lot of points. They were explosive in the run and pass game. That's why they gave Javonte Williams that money, because he showed he's still a good running back that's recovered from injury really well after having a nice stint with the Broncos, and being able to bounce back for the Cowboys and being the lead dog for them, and being a productive running back. So I do think this will be fun if they're able to, like I said, turn that defense around with the pieces they've added last year. That helped them out a little bit. Some of the young players they drafted last year, along with the free agents and draft picks they had this year, they have a chance to definitely put themselves in the mix to win the NFC East next year. Again, because the offense will be spectacular. So if the defense can catch up to a little bit, again, they bring in a new DC, the DB, former defensive back coach from the Philadelphia Eagles is coming in. So I do think they're going to play a different myriad of looks of coverages back there. And I do believe he will take 2 DBs with his 3 picks in the top 100, because just being a former defensive back and looking at who he did take, he brought in a lot of DBs because the Cowboys need a lot of depth. All they got out there is really Deron Bland. They got the young guy they drafted last year out of ECU. I can't think of his name right now. He played a lot as a rookie, but you got those 2 dudes. And safeties, who you got? You just got Wilson. I think they let Hooker walk. So they got to add a lot of pieces on the back end. And again, with those first 3 picks, I think 2 of them need to go into that secondary, and then another one at a linebacker, preferably in the middle. But if Sonny Styles somehow able to fall down to 12, I think they run that card in there, and you have Sonny Styles, and you pair him with what's the guy named Zero? I can't even think. He always getting hurt. But if he's able to stay healthy, you pair him with Sonny Styles. Now you probably got 2 of the more athletic linebackers in all of the NFL who can play sideline to sideline and really get after it. Oh, Darian Overshaw. There it is. Devorian Overshaw. There it is. Linebacker from Texas. I'm like, man, I know this guy's name. It's on my brain. But yeah, I definitely think that, yeah, they got a chance to, like I said, do something. Again, with the way the division looks, and they were a couple games away, again, where if the defense could have got a stop, maybe 2 stops, stop and a half, they would have been able to, potentially be a playoff team. But like I said, Jerry Jones said he's going to be aggressive in the free agency and through trade. I feel like he was kind of that so far. So I will give him credit for that. Again, like I said, he re-signed Sam Williams. He brought in Rashad Gary. He brought in Otto Ogbonnogi. Again, Durant, Lockett, Thomas. Like, he brought in a bunch of defensive players. He said they were going to be aggressive. And I think they're still not done. I think they will be aggressive in the draft. And I think that they have a chance, like I said, to turn this around. If they're able to really get a hold of it, the defensive coordinators really able to turn these guys around, they got a chance to make an immediate impact right out the gate. And that should be fun. So Cowboy fans, you ain't gotta over whoop, but yeah, y'all got a chance. Y'all got a chance, man. I really believe that. Again, I'm really surprised at how good of a coach Brian Schottenheimer was, man. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he performed really well as the Cowboys coach, as his first year, and never having any, any other really experience as a coordinator up until last season. So to see him kind of go out there and lead the charge and be a leader of men, I felt he did good. I thought he did well. I thought the players responded to him. So I do think this will be a good year for them. So I'm excited. Last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Philly had high expectation after coming off the Super Bowl. We thought they even had a chance to kind of go back to back because they brought back a lot of players, and a lot of the players they won with were extremely young as well. But kind of was flat. The offense couldn't figure it out. You had the AJ Brown kind of fiasco going on, reading the books on the sideline, kind of getting into it with Nick Sirianni or whatnot. The Nick Sirianni, was he on the hot seat? Was he wasn't? It was kind of all over the place. But they were able to still finish the season 11-6, make the playoff, host a playoff game. Unfortunately, took a nice loss to the Niners, went home real early. But again, a really good team. I still like Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown as of right now is still on the team. We got Devontae Smith. They brought in Hollywood Brown. We'll talk about that. They got a lot of returners that re-signed Dallas Goedert. And again, we'll get into the roster. But again, yeah, the team was good. I thought they had talent. They got a lot of guys. You got Quinyon Mitchell, who's really good. He's proven to be one of the better corners in the league as the up-and-coming guy. Cooper DeJean's been really good in the slot for them. So again, it was a good year. It wasn't a great year. Always room for improvement though. And we're gonna go ahead and get to the roster. And we're gonna get in the Phillies roster. And again, Andy Dalton, they just got Andy Dalton the other day in the trade with the Bengals, with the Panthers. That's where he came from. But again, you need a good veteran backup quarterback. I know Tanner McKee is a good quarterback, but I do think he might end up having some trade value. So I do think that could end up happening where they end up trading Tanner McKee to get some value for him, which is always possible. Again, we talked about it. Marquise Brown re-signed Dallas Goedert, re-signed Grant Calcaterra. Again, re-signed Big Jordan Davis to the 3-year, $78 million deal. Arnold Ebiketie, outside linebacker / edge rusher, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons. Good guy. Jonathan Jones, former defensive back of the Patriots. Again, Tyreek Woolen, I thought, was their big winner. Only being able to get him on a prove-it one-year deal is kind of scary. But now you're walking out Tyreek Woolen, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean in your back end. I think that's a pretty good look to have in the secondary where you're going to be able to actually kind of make some plays back there. You got some guys, even though, Tyreek Woolen is picked on, he's not the greatest man corner, but I still think he'll be able to make some plays back there and do some things. Again, that's a big pickup for them. Again, that was kind of where they were suffering that guy opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. They had Adoree Jackson there. It didn't work. So kind of knew that wasn't going to work. I told you I got a jersey of him over there. It's just sitting over there. It was a gift, so I can't just throw it away. But, yeah, they don't get no love. But, again, not Quinyon Mitchell, but, again, that's a big pickup, getting Tyreek Woolen. I think that's a good pickup for them. I think he's going to, again, enhance the secondary, make it a little bit tougher to throw over there. Again, bringing in Jonathan Jones, who can help out in the return game as well as some slot corner ability as well. Again, bringing back Jordan Davis. You still got Jalen Carter. You still got Smith, as Nolan Smith as well. So, again, these guys are still primed and ready. Obviously, losing to Kobe Dean, that one kind of hurts. But with the injuries and keep getting nicked up, it kind of made sense to not fully just go ahead and pay him and invest in him when he couldn't finish the seasons for y'all. None of his seasons since he's been drafted. He was drafted hurt. He came in with the neck and back. And it could just be because he's an undersized linebacker who plays like a 6'3" linebacker, and that could be the problem, which ain't a problem. It's just, hey, man, it's the way the game goes. But, again, they got 9 picks in the draft. Philly's always good in the draft. They're always good with coming up on comp picks is what I'm calling them because that word kill me every time. The compensatory picks, comp picks. But they got 9 picks, 4 picks in the top 100, uh, 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. Round 1 pick 23, second round 54, and 2 picks in the third round. And these guys, again, really good at drafting, dog. And I think they got potentially can go edge, put somebody on the other side of Nolan Smith. You can start to go offensive line and start to invest in some of these and start to kind of find some replacements for some of your older aging tackles. Jordan Mailata's getting up there in age. Lane Johnson's up there in age. Maybe you're start to look for your replacement tackle. Caden Proctor is going to be there. Freeland from Georgia potentially could be there. So you got some guys you can potentially put there. Spencer Fanu, Caleb Lomo, a couple guys there. If they want to kind of start to replace that O-line, I think that kind of should be the move. So that way when those guys walk out, it's just an easy replacement in. But again, edge rusher is still somewhere they can go. They can go safety as well, which is a position of need. So I think they could go a myriad of places. But I do think that Philly is in a good spot. You still got your quarterback. You still got your running back. You bring back your offensive line. Mekhi Becton's out there. I think if they're able to bring Mekhi Becton back on the deal and get him back at right guard, I think that'll help out a lot. You know what I'm saying? And then if they can get their guys back healthy, that'll be a good look for them. Their offensive line was kind of nicked up all year. Cam Jurgens was kind of hurt all year, missed a lot of games. So was Doran Dickerson. He missed a lot of games as well. So if they were to get both of those guys back, bring Mekhi Becton back on the deal, and bring him back in at right guard and kind of had that original line that went to the Super Bowl together, I think they'd be in a good spot. Saquon gets another year. I think he'll be solid. Maybe they can draft another running back to pair with him in the later rounds as well. Just to spare him some type of receiving back, because I think losing Kenneth Gainwell kind of hurt them a little bit as that extra running back. But I'm excited to see what the Eagles can do again. I don't think Nick Sirianni on the hot seat, but I do think he has to continue to win 10-plus games and continue to compete for championships. I do think soon as he don't make a playoff, they're going to be on his head piece for sure. I was supposed to have on a guest for today to do the Eagles as well. Shout out to my homie Dom Howard. These people be busy too, they humans. But I just like to shout them out. Shout out to Dom, New Level Dom, and all the things he got going. Phenomenal cologne and New Level Logistics. Again, I'll have him on the show one of these days to still talk about his Eagle fandom and how he got there. And again, another cat played college ball, played some arena football. So got some guys that can tell some stories and passionate football fans as well. So it'll be fun to get him on here. So shout out to Dom Howard. That's the homie as well, man. He's a good dude. I'll be able to, again, go a little bit more in depth on these Eagles than I can and give y'all a better take. But again, there we have it, beautiful people. Another episode in the books. NFC East and AFC was done this week. If you missed the AFC East, go ahead and check out Tuesday's episode. Me and Coach Fly, avid Jet fan, got on there and did our thing. Talked about the Jets and all the moves they need to be made. Shout out to that boy Ronnie, Red Ron. You feel me? Came on here and talked all things Commanders, which was real good. Talked about his Miami Hurricane love. You know I hate that. Go Seminoles all day, every day. But again, he came on here and talked his Commanders talk, so it'll be good. Next week, make sure y'all tune in. We got the AFC South and the NFC South, so I'll get to fan out about my Titans. I'm so excited. I've been holding back every time I talk. But, yeah, I'm going to let y'all have it next week. We'll talk Titans. We'll talk Texans. We'll talk Jags. We'll talk Colts. I almost know a fan of all of them, so maybe I could try to get a couple fans on. Maybe not Jaguars, so maybe I'll do them. But I know a Colts fan, so Mike, come on. And then my boy Aaron Hart, all the way. Come on now, all the way. Aaron Hart out there repping the Houston Texans. Try to get him on here to talk all things Texans. So that'll be fun too. So make sure y'all tune in next week. And then again, we got the NFC South. I'm gonna have Young Dudon representing the Atlanta Falcons. DJ Jones, the CEO and dude, he does flights and flicks over on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok about movies. He gonna be on talking about his Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, and then we'll talk Atlanta Falcons, not Atlanta Falcons. We'll talk Carolina Panthers as well. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Shall be fun. Carolina Panthers. I'm excited. I told you that was one of my teams that won the weekend over some of their signings. So yeah, AFC South. We'll talk New Orleans Saints as well too. Talk about Kellen Moore going into his second year and what they can do. and how he's put a stamp on there. But yeah, y'all make sure y'all tune in next week. Make sure y'all always like, subscribe, and share. That's always the love. I appreciate that. You already know, man. Love, peace, and hair grease. Love, live life, and Tupac. It's the Bringing the Wood podcast. It's your boy D Wood. And y'all know what I do on this thing. I don't play no games. I just brought the wood. Peace.
You've been locked into Bringing the Wood. No soft takes, no watered down debates. If it's in the game, we bring it head on. Until next time, stay locked in.